here we are at Big Bend Ranch State Park in Texas. And Big Bend Ranch is a fantastic place to visit that has rocks from the Cambrian all the way into the Cenozoic that record seas having covered this area, mountains having been built in this area, and lots of volcanic activity. But today I want to talk about what you see behind me, and that is El Solitario. Now, El Solitario means the lonely one or the hermit in Spanish because it is a very conspicuous structure out in the middle of the lonely desert. And it has a fascinating history. The oldest rocks, which are in the center of El Solitario, date to the Cambrian, when this area was covered by a shallow sea. And in fact, throughout the Paleozoic, there were shallow seas depositing sedimentary rocks. We did have a mountain building event. And then eventually, in the time of the dinosaurs, there was yet another shallow sea that deposited limestone layers. And you can see those limestone layers behind me. They're the very light-colored rocks. Well, the history of El Solitario gets exceptionally exciting once we get into the Eocene. About 35.4 million years ago, magma was rising in this area. And magma rose until it found a weak area, an ancient fault, and then it spread out as a sill. But more magma flowed upwards, and that whole area inflated upwards into a type of igneous intrusion we call a laccolith. And as that magma inflated upwards, it tilted all the rocks above it upwards as well. So surrounding El Solitario are these very steeply tilted sedimentary rocks. And this, in fact, creates a dome that's about 10 miles wide. The story doesn't end there, though. Some of that magma actually made it to the surface and erupted in a catastrophic explosive eruption. About 4 to 6 cubic miles of ash and pumice and other pyroclastics were blasted in a supervolcano eruption. Just to give you an idea of how big that is, Mount St. Helens in 1980 erupted maybe about a quarter of a cubic mile, and this erupted 4 to 6 cubic miles. Now, that eruption created a caldera that's about 4 miles by about 1.25 miles wide. So this is a laccolith which has a caldera on top of it. We call that a laccocaldera. So we have this lonely laccocaldera behind us, but then you're going to see very conspicuously marking the edge of that laccolith are what are called flatirons. And that's the Cretaceous age limestone that got tilted up on end. In a desert climate like this, limestone is very resistant to weathering and erosion, so it stands up and marks the edge of the Solitario dome.